Good day. Today is 31st May 2022, and I'm Professor M.T.R. Jayasinghe. This is the third lesson of our recent history. So, when Britishers came, they brought many things. So they were all taken to up country, not by bullock carts. They were used. They were all taken in elephant carts. And you will say, what is an elephant cart? I have never seen an elephant cart. So just type elephant cart on web, www, and you can see images. And there's one elephant cart in the Martin Vikramsinghe Museum. So you can have a look at it. And the difference between a bullock cart and an elephant cart is elephant cart has a wheel of about 8 feet in diameter, and the structure is very strong. They use complete trees for the structure because weight of the cart is immaterial for very strong elephants, and they just pull it. And elephants are really strong animals, and bulls are no match to elephants. And elephant carts, you can pull tons of materials, not small amount, but tons of materials, because they have massive wheels, and elephants can walk pretty fast. Elephants can easily cover 50 kilometers a day. So you can see when you are pulling loads within 3-4 days, you can go to any destination in Sri Lanka, provided there's a reasonable road. So first the Britishers tried coffee, then coffee failed, then they went for tea, and then they also got rubber, and coconut plantation was anyway there even before Britishers came, because when people migrated to the western zone, in the ancient times, our western zones, they were all almost empty except the coastal settlements, because all these areas were infested with elephants, because elephants lived in the wet zone. The reason is elephants love water, and it's a huge trouble for them to live in the dry zone of Sri Lanka. So that's why today we have got elephant people conflict, because we have got elephant. Britishers chased away all the elephants to the dry zone, and they occupied the wet zone, and they cleared the wet zone. They created a huge climatic disaster in Sri Lanka, and that is the disaster that we are trying to find solutions by building reservoirs in Sri Lanka. But our reservoir operation is also very poor, so we have to go for very accurate weather data and artificial intelligence based solutions, because our reservoir operations based on protocols is a utter failure. And so we have actually started. We'll be starting a project in collaboration with. We have support from USA, and we'll be starting a research project shortly on the reservoir operation of. We are waiting for these final year batch students to graduate, and the project is on. I'm actually personally funding it using my own funds. The optimization of reservoir operation with artificial intelligence. The reservoir that we selected was Parakram Samudra, which can be easily managed not to have floods in Somavati, or only to limit the floods in Somavati, only to a very minor flood, not to a 10-feet flood. But that needs technology, that needs artificial intelligence. So there will be a project that will be started shortly, and I'm funding it because, in my case, I don't care, because, my consultancy charges 400,000 rupees per hour. So I don't do consultancy all the time, but if any company, big companies, they all know my charge is 400,000 rupees per hour, but they still come to me because I can save millions from projects. So it's worth paying me 400,000 per hour because when they pay few millions to me, they save 500, 600 millions from projects. So because of that money, I don't care about money. And basically, I don't have money because I never keep money. I give money to all my money to everybody. And around me, anybody needing money, if they say, they need this much of money by this date, I generally assure that it's honored. I give the word, okay, if I say, okay, I'll give a try, and one way or the other, I'll make sure whatever the money they need is given. And I never give loans, I always give grants. So basically, you might say, why don't you then give a grant to government of Sri Lanka? Unfortunately, I don't have any money. I'm a very poor guy because I have donated everything, given, distributed everything I have earned since the day I came back to Sri Lanka in 1992. I have earned a lot, then spent a lot, given a lot. So that's why my wife always shouts at me saying, there's not even 5,000 rupees in your purse. Why don't you have some money so that otherwise I have to spend everything from my earnings, and you are like a man who never earns anything in this house. And it's true because I pay all the bills, and other than that I don't bother to I mean, if there's money in my pocket, I mean, any amount taken out, I don't care. But most of the time, money does not hold in my pocket. So I'm shortly I'll be doing. We are doing some research project on. We did it actually 2000, finished it 2010. After that, we did not do much work on it, and that is prediction the solar intensities using rainfall data. We have actually completed that project, and we did not publish sufficiently, and now we want to redo a little bit of it so that we can keep on publishing from that wonderful project done by Dr. Sisuru Sendanayak and completed his PhD in 2010. And he also covered, related that to rainwater harvesting and self-sufficiency in water. So we want to actually sharpen the results of that project because today's context is very much applicable. So basically, that project also, again, I'm funding the student. I mean, funding two students up to 80,000 rupees a month is not a big deal for me. So I generally, I'll be doing that shortly. So, in the recent history, we had elections in 1948, 1953, and then again when D.S. Senanayake died, Dudley Senanayake became the prime minister, and there was one election in 1953, I think, and then when 1953 we had a hartal, and when the hartal was there, yeah, 53 we should have, because 48 we got the what do you call, freedom, and then 1953 Dudley Senanayake formed the government. Then there was Hartal. Then after Hartal, Dudley Senanayake resigned. Then Sir John Kotalawala took over, and Sir John Kotalawala is a very special person, very brave person, and he donated all his wealth to uh, at at Ratmalana to Sir John Academy. And I'm also very proud that, in 1987, Professor Priyandas asked me to. I was a very young lecturer, but my teachings were very sharp, though even those days. So I taught the first major batch of Sir John Kotalawala Academy, and I taught 42 students, or 43 students, structural mechanics subject. I taught them basically strength of material subject, and today the people like the retired Major General not Rihan Lamarasekar. Rihan Lamarasekar did not was not from that batch. Ratnasiri Ganegoda. He was the commandant of engineering services regiment, and then there was another Air Force commander, and basically I taught 43 students, and today they all call me sir, but they are all retired major generals, air vice marshals, and so on. So the whole army hierarchy calls me sir because I am so senior to them, and they have called sir to my students. So they have called sir to my students. So they naturally call me sir. So whether it's Air Force or Sri Lanka Navy or Sri Lanka Army, all the top officers, including the commanders, call me sir because their top officers have been my students. And this is not only for me. I mean, there are many other lecturers. If you ask Professor Lucas, it's the same. It's the same because top army commanders have and top military officers, Air Force officers, Navy officers. They all have been their students, and then now the new ones who are much younger to us have called sir to our students. So naturally, when they get to know that we are the teachers of their bosses, they will all call us sir, and you might find it very strange situation, but that is the truth. That is the truth. So basically, 1956 revolution, 1960, two elections went for 3 months. W. Vijayananda Dhanaik was the prime minister. Then Dudley was there for one week. Then Srima Bandaranaike. Then 1962, the failed army coup, and then good time for Sri Lanka. 1965, the what do you call the government of Dudley Senanayake, not a real majority government, a minority government, but support with run with support from various parties. And then 1970 landslide victory for SLFP because the very unpopular guy was Iriyagolla. And Iriyagolla, had a daughter, and when Henry Rigolo found that she needs only, if they take few hundred students to do geography, then her daughter also can enter the university. So they suddenly increased the intake of Peradeniya University, but first year it was held in Colombo, and my mother's second sister, yes, who was born in 1945, was suddenly became very lucky. She also got into that lot. So they had the first lectures in Colombo, and then they had their lectures in Peradeniya from second year onwards. And then 1970, we had landslide victory. 71, the upheaval, YJP, and Rohan Vijay was born in 1943 in Hakman area, and then he did A level he did O level and A level, most probably, yes, O level and A level at Dharmashoka College, and he used to visit the house of Susiripala Virasena. He was friend, and Susiripala's elder brother was Mathupala Virasena, who was a police officer those days, inspector. So in March 1971, Mathupala was at Uana, and he got a tip that some guys are conducting classes. And when Mathupala went there, he found Rohana Vijay at that place, so he arrested him. And then to ensure that nobody can kill him, so because Rohan Vijay was his younger brother's good friend, so he did all the police procedures properly, and then informed the magistrate and the judge, district judge, and all that, and then finally he informed the police officers top rank, and then both to Colombo, not to Colombo, the Horogolla Valawa, and then top officials, and the prime minister was there, and the prime minister wanted to get them to get rid of him, and then the police officers refused. The police officers who were brought to Colombo by helicopter were chased away, and they had to go back to Hana by bus. And you might ask, how do I know all these things? Because Mathupala Virasena is the elder brother of my wife's mother, late mother, Malini Bandupali Virasena, and the youngest brother, Susiripala Virasena, was an army officer, major in army, and then he retired with some dispute. He was in Engineering Services Regiment, so then he worked in worker piles, and then when Navaloka wanted to start Navaloka piling was started by Susiripala Virasena and Major Susiripala Virasena. So basically, those are the roots and the kind of history. So basically, in the next lesson, I'll tell you what exactly happened in Sri Lanka in the recent times. Thank you.